mega fish stocks of supreme quality, unique treasures of shapes and colors one can barely imagine, some of which are well known and others yet to be discovered and brought to surface. A perfectly balanced ecosystem has made our northern waters an exceptional source of food for humans, a basis of existence for coastal communities today and in the past, a foundation for good health and prosperity, a major source of income for the whole nation, an attraction to visitors from all over the world. Harvesting the ocean is what we do and what we have always done. And by implementing new green technology, we are increasing the harvest, intending to provide even more first-class seafood to the whole world in the future. As 80% of the ocean remains unexplored, possibilities seem endless. And with a sustainable approach, we can prevent the source from drying out. Innovation and new technology, curiosity and dedication. It will take the brightest minds and some hard work to secure a sustainable and profitable exploitation of our common marine resources. But it is not an undoable task. The future of the ocean is in our hands.
Welcome to Nordfishing Digital. In this episode, we are looking at where is the fish? The migration of species. Fish migrate due to climate change, but also due to declining food supply. What is the problem and what can be the solutions? Here is a little bit of what you can look forward to in this episode. I'm here with Rachel Tiller, who is a scientist at Sintef Ocean, working with the species and how they are being managed. Isn't that so, Rachel?
That is correct.
And tell me a little bit first, how do we see species migrating in the oceans today?
Well, we're increasingly seeing some really important species moving. They're changing areas where they usually would not have gone to, and they're coming into, well, they're moving away from normal areas. And that's turning into a little bit of a challenge, and these are species ranging from plankton to jellyfish, all the way up to the mackerel. You know, it's like they're all moving to different areas, and that can become a challenge for the fishers or for the governance aspects.
And are they moving to find feed in a bigger area than before, or are they moving permanently to other areas?
Well, these are some of the big questions. We don't know, but we do believe that they're moving because of climate change, that the waters are getting warmer. And as they're getting warmer, we're seeing an upward shift of a lot of species. So the mackerel, for example, has now been found all the way up in the Svalbard region, in way far to the north. We also see some jellyfish that have never been that far north. The snow crab is moving further east and northwards. And we believe that that is because it's getting warmer, so because of climate change.
And how does this affect the fishing community, the businesses?
Well, it affects in a number of ways, and you can look at it from a global level to a local level. So at a global level, it affects fishing because fisheries are governed by countries together. So if a fish stock suddenly moves away from Norway and starts hanging out in Iceland, the Icelandics are going, hey, that's our fish. Whereas the Norwegians are saying, well, they eat in our waters and then they got big in your waters. How is that fair? How can you harvest what we fed? So then you need to cooperate, right? But then, and that brings in a lot of problems. You have fishers that really want that fish. The Icelandic don't want to share, the Norwegians don't want to share, and then they all take too much. So if everybody takes too much, we lose our fish, right? But then it comes all the way down to the local level where you can have a fisher that's, for example, used to harvesting in their local area, and suddenly a new species has come in there that has never been there before, that might outcompete their regular species. It might eat all the food that their fish usually eats, and they might lose the fish that way. You might also get jellyfish in your nets, which means that you're not getting any fish in your nets at all because the jellyfish is taken over. So it goes from the global to the local and it affects everyone.
And that means that fish and the managing of fish is being more and more a geopolitical issue.
It is. It's been a geopolitical issue for many years, but it's becoming more and more, yes, absolutely correct. Because as they move from one economic zone that belongs to a country into another, then that country gets a resource that has economic value. And that's very important, especially now that the fish is moving. So one example is the snow crab, for example. When that moved into the waters around Svalbard, which is an area that Norway is considering to be Norwegian, and that the EU says is not. And the EU would like to harvest snow crab because it's a very valuable species. But Norway is arresting EU vessels coming into the Norwegian zone. So that could end up challenging whether or not Norway actually has ownership to an area. And that's a big geopolitical issue. So we do see that, yes.
And then I know you're also working with what is called automatic catch registration. And what is that really?
Well, it's a way to actually work together with the fishers. Now, there's nobody that's more in the water than the fishers. There's not enough research vessels in the world to find out how these fish are moving, where they're going, at what time. But there are fishing vessels. So what we work with at SINTEF is, together with many European colleagues, is automatic catch registration, which means that at the minute the fish comes overboard, like comes onto your vessel, we want to have sensors on every vessel, whether it's a laser or a camera system or a video, that is able to, together with artificial intelligence and camera vision, be able to automatically identify what the species is, how much it weighs, what size it is, and try to find out also where it's caught, right? So if you then suddenly get a fish that has never been in your waters before, immediately governance, research, and the fishers will know it, which means that we can have more of an adaptable governance system. We might be able to know that, all right, lots of fish are moving into a new zone in Norway, where normally there would be trawlers, for example, but now we need a different kind of tool to harvest this. So it would be able to help everybody out to get more knowledge about where the fish is, how much we're catching, and how much is left, because we know way too little today.
And the big question is, of course, can the authorities keep up with this kind of science and research in the managing of the stocks?
In Norway, we're so fortunate. We have a very close working relationship with the Norwegian Fisheries Directorate. They have their own Catch ID program. They're part of research projects. We have a close collaboration together with fishers, governance, and research. We're really fortunate to have that trilateral collaboration so that we can work closely together. But we are really dependent on the cooperation of the fishers, because they're the ones that need to install these kinds of sensors on their vessels in their personal space, and many do not feel comfortable with it. So it's the work of us as researchers together with the governance and fishers to come up with a solution that everyone's comfortable with, so we can work together towards sustainability, protecting biodiversity within the context of climate change.
And this is the kind of science and tool that will enable us to make the fisheries more sustainable, because we then will find out where is the fish. Later in this episode, you will meet a fisherman with millions of followers in social media. Fish without a passport, a challenge or an opportunity? We have asked around at the exhibition. As we have heard now, politics is getting more and more important, because some species are moving around and they don't know the borders.
Yes, that's true. So the fish is going about where the water is cold and maybe warm, and then it's on a journey. It's important that Norway as a country have good relations in the North Sea and around.
For countries in and out of the European Union. And the fish don't know who is the member of the European Union.
No. So you have to catch it before it's across the border.
Catch it before it reaches the British border. When we are uncertain of where the fish is moving, the Norwegian Coastal Guard gets more and more important.
We do see the fishes moving north.
Yeah.
Because of the ice edge
it's retreating.
Yeah, and then the fish is following the ice.
The first thing we need to do is simply to try to stop pollution and other many different problems that are making these migration routes change, because changes are okay and they have happened in the evolution. The problem is that the changes now are happening really, really fast, and that's what we need to avoid, because fast changes, ecology doesn't like fast changes.
All we can try and do is decarbonise in terms of, transition to renewable sources of energy as fast as we can. But unfortunately, we're talking about decades, so there will be an inevitable impact in terms of marine ecosystems, migration patterns for fish, etc. We just have to manage it as best we can.
I think the most important point of species migrating into new waters is to become even better at cooperating, but it also makes it much more difficult because new players are coming in.
Yeah, we do see fishing places have not been fished before. European Union, from Russia, from Greenland or other countries. If they want to fish in Norwegian zone, they have to have a quota, and they also have to agree that we come aboard for inspection.
Yeah, and if you come with a big ship like this, Commander,
Yeah.
I'm sure they will respect you.
They do.
I'm in the exhibition looking for solutions, and I'm here at the Dualog with Jeanette Weibakken.
Okay.
And Jeanette, you have to explain to me, what is actually Fangster doing for the fishery industry?
Yes, so we are a catch log system or catch reporting system, if you may. So it contains of an app, which you can see here on the TV screen, a location device that is mounted on the vessel that tracks the position of the vessel every 10 minutes, and the backup communication, as the internet is very poor at sea.
And what kind of data do you get as a fisherman?
As a fisherman, you need to report all your fishing activity, when you leave port, when you're going to port, where are you going to fish, where are you fishing, what kind of species do you get, how much do you get of each species, and you can also register the size of the fish if you want.
So, and is this the information you share with the government?
Yes, it's the Norwegian authorities that are the main recipients, but
Yeah.
of course the onshore companies of the fishing vessels, they use this information in their day-to-day business, so this is very useful for them as well.
So if now, because of climate change, fish is migrating to other places, how can this be helpful?
Of course, we have been in the industry for many years, so we have customers who has accumulated data for over 15 years. So based on the history, they might be able to say something about the future. However, we don't do the analytics. We provide them to the companies and to the authorities so that they can actually use the data to see if they can see patterns in the data.
Yeah, so if I, as a fisherman, has this Fangster on board,
Yeah.
I can see that I can have information about the last places where I got really lucky.
Yes, you can. Yes.
And what's unique about your system?
We have been around for many, many years. That
That's a
counts
good
as
thing.
something. Yes, we are very flexible, I would say. We are nice people from Tromsø.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to be in control of what you do at sea, it's always good to rely on nice people from Tromsø. I found Thomas and Catchwise. And Thomas, you have to tell me, what is your solution?
Oh, so Catchwise is a data platform for fishery. We enable a more data-driven approach to finding fish. So we try to help the fisheries fill the quota faster by providing more data about the ocean, about catch effort, and giving a better overview.
So you get data from the fishermen?
We gather data from multiple sources. Some are sharing, some we get from the Directorate of Fisheries and other sources. We get satellite data for bottom temperature, from surface temperature. And we use this to kind of build models around where we think the fish will be moving and which areas will have the highest chance for finding fish.
So this is artificial intelligence?
Yes.
Species are migrating, Thomas, and how can you deal with that challenge?
Yeah, so we recently launched a haddock analysis where we analyzed haddock for across multiple years and how it's been moving. So before they caught a lot more in the northern zones, but we see a steadily progressing trend where haddock is moving closer to the shore.
And in the old days, you know, fishermen were quite secretive in where the fish was, the good spots. Yeah. So that's over now.
Well, it's probably not over, but it's a fantastic opportunity to learn, not just by your own experience, but you can utilize the experience from the whole fleet as a whole.
So how is this system received by the fishermen?
Very positively. So they actually invited us out on the ocean to kind of test it with them and learn from their lives, where we can kind of help them with analysis and supplement their day with data.
So it's on vessels?
Absolutely. We're in use in around 30 vessels right now.
Well, it's a proven concept. Good luck, Thomas.
Thank you so much.
One challenge is to find out where the fish is. That is also a part of making fisheries more sustainable. And Mats, what is your contribution in that respect?
I would say technology is our contribution in it. We have many products to do this. We can use a sonar, for example, which will detect fish in a horizontal view in several kilometers distance. We can use a live camera down on the trawl that will tell you what type of fish we are fishing. We can use echo sounder to tell you how big the fish is and what species. And we also have an instrumentation on the trawl itself that will tell you when the fish is in the trawl and when to haul the trawl.
And in terms of making our fisheries more sustainable, how do you contribute?
We believe that technology is important in this respect because we say that an efficient fishing vessel is a sustainable fishing vessel. You can go out and spend short time as possible on the sea by finding the fish fast. You want to find the correct fish, you want to have the right size fish, and you don't want bycatch. All of this we can use these instruments to determine.
And how do you feel the fishing fleet is adapting to the new technology?
Especially up here in the northern part of Europe, Norway, Denmark, Faroe, Iceland. They're hungry for technology to do exactly this.
And what is the driving force in innovating new technologies?
It's definitely a profitability for the fishermen.
Yeah, and profitability is also a part of sustainability.
For sure. Both in the catching part and also when the fish is on the table in a restaurant or at home, or where everybody needs a profitability for this to work.
We also see that because of climate change, some species are actually moving from areas to other areas, and is that also something you see with your technology?
For sure. For example, the mackerel used to have a pattern they followed. Suddenly, a couple of years ago, it started to spread out much more. We don't know if this is the climate change or what it is, but it changed. So then you need a different type of technology to find the spread fish than you find a school of fish.
So technology will be even more important than in the future because the fish can be harder to catch.
For sure.
And Kongsberg has been in this game for a long time.
Kongsberg Discovery has been here for 75 years. So we plan to be here for another 75 years, I think.
Building ship models is too time consuming for me, and I'm still trying to get a grip on this social media thing. But the two guys we are meeting next are experts in these fields. They are the next generation. One of the definitive most popular stands on Nordfishing is this where we are now. These fantastic models made by Vebjørn her has really drawn a lot of people to this stand. Og Vebjørn, jeg må jo spørre deg, hvordan i all verden begynte du med dette her?
Nei, jeg var født med en muskelsykdom som gjorde at jeg ikke kunne bli fisker. Og så har jeg prøvd meg fram og funnet ut at dette var noe jeg kunne mestre.
Ja, for dette kan jeg trygt si, dette kan du.
Ja, jeg begynner å få litt teke på det.
Og jeg skjønner at du har mer enn nok å gjøre.
Ja, det er masse 2-3 år med arbeid fremover.
Hvor mye arbeid ligger det bak en modell?
Nei, det går jo 3 måneder å bygge en helt vanlig sånn i treskjøyter.
Hva er det som gleder deg mest med dette da?
Ja, man får jo en mestringsfølelse. Når man får til å gjøre noe bra, så blir lagt merke til.
Ja, og her på messa har jo dette vært den store snakkisen.
Ja, det har vært ekstremt mye folk innom.
Så ordrebøkene er fulle?
Ja, de prøver i hvert fall å bestille.
Benjamin,
Yeah.
you are a fisherman.
Yes, I am.
Have you found any boats here that are similar to the one you are working on?
Yes, this is probably the closest one to mine. Old boat that slinger in the walls, as we say.
But you, Benjamin, you're a fishfluencer.
Fishfluencer, yes.
You have been reaching out to a lot of people with your reports, your pictures, your films, your humor.
Yeah.
What is the drive behind that?
When I started fishing, I didn't see a lot of videos around what really happens. I just seen the deadliest catch and all the drama, and but I saw the fun side of it.
Yeah, and you're sort of documented the everyday life of a young fisherman.
Yeah, I have, and just come up with ideas that are funny, like taking fish head on my head or driving around the boat, hanging in the roof, and yeah.
This is also a way of recruiting more young people to the business.
Yeah, of course, they see the fun side of it as well, and you can have fun. It's not just hard work, and I've got a lot of messages by young people and want to be a fisherman like me. A lot of people ask me how I can become a fisherman after my videos. So
yeah, and it probably actually recruiting more people than if you just have a boring ad in a newspaper.
Yes, I think so.
But given this status of yours now as 6 million followers all over the world, you still want to go out and fish?
Yeah, I want to. That's my job. That's what I like to do. I just like to show people how it is, and still love the job.
It's fascinating, all the people that are drawn to the fish industry, thanks to young Benjamin, and thanks to Vebjørn presenting how wonderful these vessels actually are. Every year we have the prestigious Nordfishing Innovation Award. In a little while we will reveal the winner. There are 3 highly qualified nominees: Møre Not, Norse Eye, and Ava Ocean. With the climate change comes also changes for our fisheries. And Geir Huse, you're from the Institute of Marine Research in Norway. And what kind of changes do we see in our ecosystems?
Well, we see quite a lot of changes now with the climate as the warming. And especially one general feature is that stocks keep migrating northwards. And for example, the mackerel, back in 2013-14, it was migrating towards Greenland, and now the last 5 to 8 years, it's been migrating northwards into the Norwegian Sea, and coming into very cool temperatures compared to what it did previously. So we see this, and of course, when species move around, they start to have interactions with the local stocks, and you can have these new kind of combinations in the ecosystem.
And you are monitoring, of course, and researching and keeping an eye on this for us to get more knowledge in order to do our fisheries in a more sustainable way. But how do you monitor these things?
Well, we have a lot of monitoring surveys every year that we carry out in the North Sea, the Norwegian Sea and the Barents Sea. So we go out and in standardized transects and cover the whole ecosystem, for example in the Barents Sea, which is a shelf sea, and of course then we cover essentially the same area every year. Whereas for the other stocks, for example in the May survey that we have for herring, we have to adapt the survey. So if we know that the herring is moving, we also have to accommodate and move the survey a little bit so that we capture the same proportion of the stock every year. For example, covering the whole spawning stock, we try to do that. So if the herring moves, we have to move after.
So you have two ways. One is to sort of monitoring a fixed area and see how it changes, and then sort of following the fish.
Yeah, but that's because the shelf, the cod, it lives on the shelf. It doesn't leave the shelf. So it might kind of move a little bit northward in the Barents Sea, and it has done. But it's more standardized, so you can kind of use the same grid. Whereas some of those migrating stocks, you really need to just follow where they're going, and so that you ensure that it's comparable. The whole idea of the monitoring is that it should be comparable year after year, so that when we go back 3-5 years, we can still use the same survey and say that if it's the level now can be compared to the level back in time.
And you're also using new and modern technology in terms of surveying.
Yeah, there's a lot of technological developments going on now, and this is both in fisheries and in fisheries science. And we see a new platform, these uncrewed vehicles, for example. We're getting 2 of these 8-meter long sounders that are essentially just old lifeboats, or not old, but they're lifeboats, and they've fitted now with very modern equipment, echo sounders. And we can control them remotely, so that we have also set up a remote operations center in Bergen that we can control these vessels, and we can also control them from the research vessels. And so now, actually today, we started a new survey using an uncrewed vehicle in the Hardangerfjord on Sprat. So that's a very exciting day.
And you can monitor it from Bergen?
We can sit in Bergen and we control it, and we see all the sensors, we can see the camera on the boat, and we can see all the data are coming. Not all the data, because collect so much data that even with the broadband that you have now, you cannot send all the data. But you can send sort of snapshots of the data, and a lot of the data, but not everything.
And we are, of course, sharing the ocean with other nations. Fish is moving cross borders. How do you work with your colleagues in the other countries?
Well, we work really well, I would say, in the science, in setting up these surveys, for example. We set them up, and we are meeting in working groups on the auspice of the International Council for the Exploration of the Sea, ICS. So we have working groups, we plan the surveys together, and we do the same type of analysis and trawl holes, for example, on different countries. So if the Icelanders go out, they do it the same way as we and as the UK and the EU countries. So, but then of course, when you see changes in the migration patterns and stocks move into different zone, that's a very different issue. We're documenting it, but it's the politicians, it's the bureaucrats who needs to really agree on, how much do the different coastal states own of the stock.
But do you give recommendations?
Well, yeah, in the sense that when we are asked questions, for example, how much time does this stock spend in Norwegian waters versus EU waters, UK, we can calculate those metrics. And that's the main metric to be able to say who owns this stock, what's the proportion of Norway. But then also there are additional things, how much fisheries have a nation had on it, for example, how much research do you do? So there are different things, but it boils down to political decisions and agreements between the countries, or not agreements. In many cases now, for the 3 big stocks in the Norwegian Sea, blue whiting, mackerel and herring, there are no agreements.
But fishery has always been a hot political tomato. And do you feel that it has increased the geopolitics around fisheries?
Well, I think that certainly now we have had many years where we have not had an agreement with those three pelagic stocks. So that's certainly not improving. So I'm not sure it's, other than that, has worsened or changed very much. It's really kind of basic issues that is not really dealt with. But the issue is going to be even worse in the future if climate's going to change and make more stocks move from the south. And so it's really something that the management really need to have a strong focus on, so that we can, when you set the share of the quota, it adds to 100%, because now it adds up to 130, 140%, and it's not good.
Yeah.
We have some of the stocks, blue whiting, for example, is at a very high level, and the mackerel has been doing really well. It's declining, and also the herring is declining. So it's very important that when you get down to the critical levels, that they agree on the
baseline.
Share, on the baseline, 100%, max. So.
Yeah. And it's of course very important to have all this research if we are going to cope with the challenges of, for instance, migrating species. And I'm here with Rita Sævik. You are fisher, you own your own vessel, and you have been out at sea for many years. What kind of operation do you do, Rita?
We own a fishing vessel, a pelagic trawler, which fishing after pelagic species like mackerel, blue whiting, capling, herring, Norwegian spring spawning herring. But this multi-purpose fartøy which we own is also working in the offshore industry. So half of the year it's a fishing vessel, and the other half of the year is in the offshore industry.
Yeah,
but it's a pelagic trawler.
But that's what we call sunnmøring in Norwegian, and that's
Yes.
the people from this particular area are very entrepreneurial. So when there's no fish, you work for the oil and gas industry.
Yes, we do.
Which is clever. And you yourself are a first mate?
Yes, I have been working as a first mate. Today I'm mainly on land and like CEO for Ervika Sævik Group, because we have also other things, other businesses. But in my heart, I'm a totally fisherman, and I came from the ship on this Saturday. I was on trying to fish the mackerel in the Norwegian Sea.
Yeah, you were out now.
Yeah, yes, and there is my place and there is my heart. I'm going back in October, and I will start now to go back again and working on the sea.
But did you find any mackerel?
No, we didn't.
And what's the challenge now from your perspective in finding where the fish is?
Yeah. There has been a huge challenge for the Norwegian fleet after the Brexit, because we are not allowed to go in the necessary area to looking after the fish and catching. So it's in all of the fisheries. We start in January west of Ireland fishing for the blue whiting. And we are not allowed to fish the blue whiting west of Shetland or in St Kilda. So today we are going west of Ireland and quite southwest of Ireland. So it's really, really long distance to go for the Norwegian fleet. And the Norwegian herring has changed. When I grow up, I have been with my father actually on sea since I was 5 years old. And when I was working as a fisherman and then first mate, we fishing the herring in the fjords of Tromsø. Today we are going and fishing quite on the coast of Finnmark. So it's also changed a little bit. But the mainly challenge is the mackerel, because there hasn't been any mackerel agreement. So we weren't allowed to fish the mackerel in the UK area. Today we have this agreement, which is only 3 years, and then there will be a new negotiations. But so then I think it's 2-3 last years we have been up in the Norwegian Sea trying to catch the mackerel, and last year the Norwegian fleet didn't manage to fish the quotas, and that's not good. And we were wondering, where is the mackerel? Were we too early? Were we too late? And it's, of course, when you think about agreement, when we're coming to negotiate, it's not good that the Norwegian hasn't managed to fish the quotes. So I think this year, all of us was ready in the end of July. And we went out. I also was on board now. And we have been trawling after the mackerel in the Norwegian Sea. And we didn't get any mackerel, a little bit. So it's really, really a challenge.
So this is a political more than a climate problem for you.
Yes.
And of course, when you have to go looking so much for the mackerel, it costs more. You use more fuel.
Yes.
So it's not a
sustainable
way.
It's a very, very expensive fishery.
Yeah.
But you have to make a decision and get and fulfill your strategy if you are going to be, because if you're not going out, there will be no fish.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to put a little bit away the focus on the consumption and just be with the fleet there and try to do the best.
And you have done this in your family for generations, so you're not going to stop now.
No, I am a fisherman in my heart, so I think that is I will be the whole life.
So we have to hope that these politics will be changed so that you will get back to normal fisheries.
Yeah, at least we have this agreement now. But there is when I was little, I remember the exciting of the mackerel fishery in the North Sea. This was a really, really exciting fishery, and the fishery, I think it represents up to 40% of our total incomes. It was a really, really good fishery. But today it's more or less a nightmare because, and we are trawling this year. It was my first time trawling after mackerel because normally we should use the nets and we always catch the mackerel with nets. But today we are trawling and just hoping that there will be some mackerel. So it's not a good situation for us.
But you are not going to stop, Rita?
No, I'm always positive.
So where the fish is not only about climate, it's also global politics. Yes. Innovation is what's driving change. And Nordfishing wants to promote the most innovative solutions. With all the innovation that's going on in the industry, the competition is of course fierce. But there is only one winner.
The winner is Ava Ocean.
3 innovative companies were nominated for the Innovation Prize at Nordfishing. Mørenot, Northside, and the winner, Ava Ocean. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
What are your feelings now that you have been the most innovative company on this fair?
First of all, it is a wonderful recognition to all the people that has been involved in this project. It's been an 8-year-long project, and we have been doing innovative stuff in the middle of the Barents Sea, which is a difficult place to do innovation. So to get this recognition from Nordfish it's really motivating for all the people that have been involved. So that's the most important thing.
And Geir, what will then this recognition do for your company?
I mean, first of all, of course, the immediate impact is that we get positive media coverage, and being a startup, having to have investors support you, that's really important for us. But also, since the business we do is also relying on a good cooperation with authorities. And the fact that we were awarded this award from the Minister of Fisheries is very positive for us.
Yeah, and they say that good innovations takes 9 years. So
at least, and for us it's been 8 years. So we feel like we've been doing this for a long time, but simultaneously we feel that we are just in the beginning. So to have that boost from a prize like this now for the whole company it's important for us.
And we have to talk about the innovation itself.
Yeah.
What are you actually doing?
So we started off 8 years ago trying to understand, okay, how can we should be able to harvest this species in a sustainable way in this year and time. And so we have taken technologies from the oil and gas sector actually that has been used in that area for decades and converted it into what we call a harvesting unit that we operate just above the seafloor without touching the seafloor. And we have created a pumping technology that creates a sea flow lifting the scallops. So that makes it sustainable, far more sustainable than the current dredging practices, and has enabled us to access those species and collect them efficiently and quite sustainable as well.
And I understand that these scallops in the Barents Sea are very special.
They are quite special. They are lying like on 80 meters, like in the middle of cold water. They are slow growing, spending 10 years before we collect them. So they get a quite unique texture and a really, really sweet taste. So for us to be able to reopen that fishery and have that as one of the new species that we can export from Norway, it's been fantastic.
And of course you're contributing, Geir, to a more sustainable use of resources from the ocean.
Yes, and the dredging, which was banned in Norway in 1992, still goes on all over the world. That's basically how we harvest from the seabed. And with our technology, we hope that we can contribute to see a change.
And as a CFO, you're hoping for an international breakthrough now.
Of course.
Good luck, and it was wonderful to see that you got this prize, and I'm really looking forward to tasting those magnificent scallops from the Barents Sea. This year's Nordfishing exhibition is over, and I wouldn't say it's an exaggeration to say that this is a success, Christian.
Yes, that's right. We have had a lot of people, a lot of exhibitors and of course visitors. So the numbers has been 10 to 20% higher than 2 years ago. So and everybody is really pleased. It's been 3 great days here in Trondheim. So excellent exhibition.
Yeah, and people are pleased to have had their stands, and people visiting. It's been a lot of fishermen.
Yeah.
So I assume there's been quite a few business deals signed.
Yeah. Yes, we hear that it's been a lot of business deals. And of course, coming here, meeting other people, meeting customers and so on, it's the place to be if you're in the fishery.
And of course, a lot of the challenges in the industry has been high on the agenda this year.
Yeah, it's been a lot of knowledge sharing here at in Trondheim. We have a hall with that's all about knowledge sharing actually. So it's been really well visited.
Yeah, I met quite a few of the fabulous scientists that are working on tomorrow's opportunities and challenges. And if you want to know what the future looks like, Nordfishing is the place to be.
Yeah, and I have to mention that we had a student camp, and the students are really great. They have some really nice solutions, ideas on how we're going to find the new best ways for the fisheries for the future.
Yeah, it's important to include the next generation, Christian.
Really? Mm-hmm.
And one of the big moments at Nordfishing is, of course, the prestigious award of the best stand. And we have been there when the winner was announced.
On behalf of the Nordfishing Foundation, it's an honor to welcome you all to attend the winner of the Best Stand Award at the Nordfishing 2024. And the 3 nominees are Båder Norge AS, Furunu Norge AS, and Selstad. And the winner is Båder Norge.
Congratulations, Karel and Vidar. You are the winners of this year's Best Stand. How are you feeling?
Oh, of course, winning the award is very nice, but it's an amazing meeting place for us. It's good to have this interaction here in the heart of the fish processing, actually.
You are from Belgium and you're from the head office. What has been the thoughts behind this design?
The front part is very clean, white, reflecting the hygienic design of our equipment, and typical fish processing is very hygienic. The back side is then more of the relationship. It's more cozy, little Scandinavian style with the wood. The sustainability is taken into account as well in the design, and the reuse of all the materials. So wherever you go, if you go to Barcelona, SPG, or you're here, you will see the same elements in the booth.
Yeah, because sustainability has really been on the agenda during these days at Nordfishing, and you have been thinking about that too. But guys, we need a really nice group photo of the winner. Come on over here, everyone. This year's winner of the Best Stand. An absolutely worthy winner. And now, Christian, it is for us to say goodbye.
Yes, this year's exhibition is coming to an end. It's been 3 fantastic days here in Trondheim. But next year we'll be back with Aqua Nord, and 2 years from now we'll have Nordfishing again from the 18th to the 20th of August. So welcome back then, and thank you for this year.
Put that in your calendar. Thank you very much.